What's good? WCS back on deck, man. Fill the room up. I'm about to just speak on something when it comes to what I seen last night. Y'all come rock with your boy. Fill the room up just a little bit. It ain't gonna be long. I'm gonna make this short, quick, and simple. But I need for people to fill the room up on Sunday. You feel me? Out the ATL shout, you know what it is.
Everything okay with your order? Okay, all right.
Man, fill the room up. Let's go. Let's go, man. We got to talk about Charlo. Real talk. We have to address some things. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? We have to address some things on this Sunday. So if you in church, make sure you step outside. Preacher ain't gonna be mad. You already gave him a tithe. Everything should be good to go. So step outside. Tell them you have to, tune in to WCS right quick about this Charlo event that went down yesterday. We was hoping for undisputed, y'all. We was hoping for undisputed, right? Right? We weren't looking for a draw. We was hoping and wishing that undisputed happened so Charlo can go into the history books. But you know what we did see? Because race didn't have nothing to do with this. It was way deeper than that. It was way deeper than that. We all seen what happened. It kind of took me back to Jerry Hurd and Luis Arias. It pretty much took me back to that fight right there. How Arias was there that night. He performed, but he ended up getting the win for his work. He absolutely went in there and outperformed, outworked Jerry Hurd. Same thing happened last night. Brian Castano went in there and proved that he's there for business. People been overlooking him. They thought what he did to Patrick Teixeira was nothing. So stepping up to the elite level, the unified champion, people weren't looking at him as if he was gonna go ahead and do what he did last night. But let's be clear, y'all. Charlo lost last night. Castano had him shook, man. Castano had Charlo shook. What's wrong? I got to bring in my boy Deontay Wilder, how he went in there. He was bleeding. This motherfucker was bleeding, y'all. Bleeding, lip, ear, all that. He was on the motherfucking grind. He was ready to, look, he's ready to die in that motherfucker. But Charlo, they wanted to walk up out of that pretty. So no one can look at them and make memes and shit. You know what I'm saying? No one can make memes. No one can sit up there and say, look how Charlo got fucked up last night. See, it's levels to this shit. People can look, people can sit back and say, oh, so-and-so got fucked up. Fury, he did this and that. But what about last night, though? You gonna call it defense? You gonna say it happens in boxing? No, nigga, I'm saying lions sleep a lot during the day. Have you been sleeping when you're supposed to be training? Lions sleep a lot during the day. They get their rest. And then when the lioness go out there and get a kill, they go out there and scavenge the carcass. What have you been doing when you're supposed to have been training? Because it just seems like you really wasn't ready to go to WAR. I was sitting back, I said, come on, this is the round Charlo turn up. This is the round Charlo dig deep. Because race ain't got shit to do with this. Heart does. Heart has a lot to do with what we expecting for Charlo to get this undisputed title. A lot of black fight fans was rooting for you to get this title. This one last title that Castano had. We was rooting for you, bro. But what I seen yesterday was that you was overrated, bro. Jermell Charlo, I'm going to tell you. What I seen yesterday is that you just said you ain't looking to give Lubin another shot. Why? Why? Lubin, at least I can say Lubin with Jason Rosario, when he was hurt, he hurt Jason Rosario, and he himself was hurt, and he fought out of that shit. But you, how many times will you buckle last night? And you just ease on down the road, ease on down. Like, you didn't want to get into the mix, man. You didn't want to, Castano was at your front door. He had fire in both hands. He was trying to burn that bitch down. It's almost like he was in the back room with a fire extinguisher. And he was like, no, Castano. No, Castano. No mas. No mas, Castano. No mas. Please don't come in here. Please. I got people in my squad that'll do life if you burn down that dope. But I can't get in contact. The phone busy right now. Please don't burn down my dope, Castano. Listen, Charlo is one loss away from spiraling downhill in a square wheelbarrow. He's one loss away from spiraling downhill in a square wheelbarrow. Don't say you never heard it. I'm telling you, bro. Something else is going on. But these Charlo brothers, at this point in their career, they really need to shh, be quiet. You really need to shh and just box and chill and do your shit. Because yesterday, Mayor Charlo, you look overrated. You know how they do. They clap it up at the baseball game. Overrated. 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 I'm looking for that Deontay Wilder blood, goddammit. I'm looking for you to go to war in that bitch. You bleed. Tyson Fury's up there trying to lick the blood of Wilder when he was in that motherfucking battle. There was so much blood everywhere. Motherfuckers was smelling that shit. But it's a difference, Charlo, why I'm coming at you the way I am. Because you went at my boy Joshua Grid Jr. back in the day. And one thing I can say about Joshua Grid Jr., and shout out to Don't Blink, that motherfucker a dog. He ain't afraid to get right back in the mix. Even though he faced adversity, he ain't afraid to get right back in that motherfucker in the pocket and throw down. And you was up there dogging him. Now it's time for you to get dogged. Not just off the words that you've been coming out the side of your face, but your performance last night did not work out, bro. Your performance that you were supposed to give to your Houston natives, your Houston fan base, you were supposed to go in there, rock the house, and bring all the titles back. But shit, I guess that shit Teofimo did is not easy as it looks. I guess that shit Josh Taylor did isn't as easy as it looks, bro. I guess it isn't. I guess it isn't easy as it fucking looks, Charlo. Stop chiming in on motherfuckers damn live and talking about shit outside of what you're supposed to be doing inside the gym. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Paying attention to yourself. Because Castano was in your ass. He had you shook. You was dancing to his two-step. It wasn't shit else going on last night. Except Brian Castano taking the lead on every fucking thing. Y'all could never say Castano shouldn't have been undisputed last night. He absolutely should have been undisputed. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That draw remind me of Connecticut when Rolly Romero, you know what I'm saying, went over there and obviously lost to Jackson Martinez. It wasn't a draw, but it was a robbery. And I kind of feel like last night was a robbery in itself, because I just felt like, Charlo, you got outworked. And I was looking for you. I'll say, this is the round. I was looking for Charlo. I said, this is it, man. This is when he dig down. You gave us that one shining moment where you was digging deep. And you couldn't hurt Brian Castano. You couldn't hurt him. So now I was looking for you to change levels and get dirty. Do whatever it needed to do. You know, smother his punches, because he was getting the best of you when you was up against the ropes. It took me back to Hurd. I'm like, Hurd was up there against the ropes getting blasted. Now I see Mayor Charlo up against the ropes getting blasted, buckled. I thought I was looking at UPS, goddammit. I thought he was about to fold your ass like an envelope and ship you off in the back of the truck and send you back to Houston. That's what the fuck I thought was happening. Pay attention to yourself and be better instead of chiming in on other niggas that's getting it in, that's willing to die in that motherfucking ring. I'm just not street talk, but you got motherfucking niggas in your squad that'll do life. That'll do life, right? You got the niggas that's willing to do life. But then again, what are you willing to do in the ring when it comes time for you to go to motherfucking war? When it's time for your deployment? What are you willing to do? Are you willing to go out on your shield? You willing to sacrifice your life? Because this cat's out here that's saying, you know what, I chose this sport. I chose this sport. And I'm going to go all in when it's that time. I'm going to be that dog. I'm going to show you that I got that heart. I'm going to show you that, you know, there's levels inside when it comes to heart that I'm willing to venture into. I'm willing to go as deep as it requires. I'm willing to go there. I'm willing to go as dark as it gets. I don't think you like that, male Charlo. People was just praising you. You know, you hear people praise you here and there. Oh, who's the better Charlo? Is it Mar Charlo? Is it male Charlo? Is it Mar Charlo? Is it male Charlo? Last night, it seemed like it's still Mar Charlo, even though you start boxing before Mar Charlo. I just was disappointed, bro. Regardless of what you said out the side of your face, I was still pulling for you to go in there and get those belts. Real talk, I was pulling for you. But since you went in there and you let Castano control the room, bro. You let Castano control the room. He kept putting you up against the ropes. You kept allowing yourself to just post up against the ropes. No, we're looking for the motherfucking, you know, when you cock your head back and you talk your shit, just like you was doing at the weigh-ins. We waiting on you to cock your head and be like, shit, I'm about this. I'm about this. Lions lonely, nigga. Lions lonely. I'm about this shit, nigga. I'm waiting on Lions lonely to come out. Man, shout out to Stormy B in the building, man. Let me get to some of these comments. Unified Vision in the building. Salute Andrew Charles. What's good? Them Argentinians tough as hell. I didn't sleep on Castano, but I was still surprised how he brought it to Charlo. I was surprised too because I was looking for a fight. You know, people, what I can say about is certain individuals I was tuning into, and they were saying, okay, people sleeping on Castano, they better watch out. Castano's going to bring a different type of energy to Charlo. It's not going to be an easy go. And they was right. They was right. Team Mitch in the building. What's good? And by the way, man, I'm COVID negative. I'm good. I'm hyped about that. Let's say most thought Castano won. Judges saw it how they saw it. 117 to 111. That's some bullshit. Once again, we've seen this. I talked about it before. I talked about how judges can go out here and have a controversial gap in their scoring system, but yet they still allowed to come back to a fight again. You know what I'm saying? And judge another fight. So that 117, 111 really don't matter. It's just gonna have it's gonna be good for conversation, and people just gonna let it go. It was a bit wide for Charlo. Other two judges had 114, 114. I mean 114, 114, 114, 113 for Castano, so it was a close fight. Stormy B in the building. Make sure you go subscribe to Stormy B. Salute WCS. Look like Mel needed them shooters who would do a bid for him like he threatened Wilder. Oh, I forgot. They can't help you in the ring. They can't help him, dog. That's all I'm saying. Them shooters that'll do life. Where was them? Look, where was they ringside? Why were they ringside like goddamn the rail was? Come on, stop the fight. Stop the fight. That's my champ. That's our champ. When Deontay Wilder was in there, goddamn leaving it all in the ring, ready to go out on the shield. Where was the rail? Where was these shooters in Charlo's circle? Where was these dudes at? They willing to do life for these streets. But I didn't see them running around the ring in duress like the rail so-called was. Oh, I was looking up to Wilder. I just really wanted him to to be safe. Man, get the fuck out of here, dog. Neither one of them deserved to be undisputed last night, in my opinion. Charlo not active enough. Castano lost the championship rounds, a draw. Man, Castano did enough, bro. In my opinion, I disagree with you, Mitch. I disagree with you. The brotherhood in the building, what's good? He said Charlo won that. I disagree. I disagree. Charlo was up against the ropes too many times, and you can't say all those shots. Look, he said he hurt Castano, and Castano was buckling Charlo. He say, look, he say he was hurting Castano, and Castano was hurting Charlo. He was hitting him with the same shit. The same shit. And he was buckling him, dog. If a rematch happens later this year, I got Charlo by stoppage. Castano's were hurt damn near every time Charlo touched him. I absolutely agree that he was hurt sometime. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't think he was hurt at a rate for which Charlo was taking damage and being pushed up against the ropes and being stood up, being frozen, not knowing what plan B and C and D was. That's my problem with Charlo. Like, this is the biggest fight right here. This for undisputed. You don't have levels, bro? You don't have levels to change up the levels? Put your hands where my eyes can see. Shout out to Busta Rhymes. Yeah, for sure. For real, man. Castano got robbed. Absolutely. That 117, 111 card was for Castano. They flipped it at the end, in the end for Charlo. Home cooking. Man, I'm telling you, man, Charlo, it was an early Christmas for you. I know it's July right now, but it was an early Christmas for you. I'm not gonna say it was karma. You know, I'm not the one to sit up here and say it was karma there, Charlo. But really, instead of you paying attention to people's lives and talking about what don't matter, what you need to be concerned about is what Derrick James is not teaching you right now. That's what you need to be concerned about. Because listen, I was looking for a sense of urgency when he told you, hey, you need a knockout. You know, Derrick James is telling you, this is what you need there, Charlo. It didn't seem like he was willing to go and then die for it, man. He wasn't willing to go in there and sacrifice, bro. Real talk. Great fight last night. SB90 in the building. What's good? Great fight last night. I had Castano by a round. I'm good with the draw, the media brief. What? You think the fight was actually that close? I think some of y'all was really hoping that Charlo went in there and dominated Castano. But since he didn't dominate it, y'all still within your heart say, well, it was a back and forth and back and forth. No, it should have ended up just like Jarrett Hurd and Luis Arias ended up. Castano should have won, man. WCS, I was very shout out to the boxing plug in the building. WCS, I was very disappointed with the Charlo fight. Charlo was stationary target the whole night up against the ropes and waiting to counter all night, WCS. Jamel fought one style all night. See, now I totally understand because these shades are prescription shades. But I'm still able to understand that there's certain people that saw the fight like I did, just like the boxing plug. He did not change up, y'all. He didn't change levels. Charlo didn't fucking change levels. This is for the undisputed. Boxing plug hit it 100% on the head. I was waiting on Charlo to change levels. Dig deep. Ready to bleed up in that bitch. Ready to bleed. What's wrong with the brothers? You can't say that, oh, brothers go in there and they try to be pretty. You know how they try to say, oh, brothers, you know, they try to be pretty. They ain't trying to bleed up in there. They ain't trying to goddamn have their eye hanging down like JoJo Diaz. They ain't trying to have that Eric Morales eye. But when you want to go up my boy Wilder, when he was in there bleeding from the mouth, the ear, all that shit. Man, now that shit doesn't look as easy, huh? When a motherfucker is not feeling well, going in there, leaving it all in the ring, going out on the shield, guess what? I was waiting on you. I was waiting on you, Charlo, to turn up, to go out on your shield, to act like you was willing to sacrifice up in that motherfucker, dog. Maul was always looked like better boxer of the two to me. I agree, Andrew. TJ Sports Nation in the building, salute. David in the building, what's good? In my eyes, I feel like Castano won the fight, but I can see how it would be a draw in the crazy world. That crazy world you're talking about is boxing. Boxing rotate on a different axis, y'all. They rotate off a different axis. We already know that. So what we expect to happen in the sport of boxing, it doesn't have no freaking principles and morals to it. So we might expect something to happen, but you can definitely understand when you get decisions like this, that you getting that from the grimy dark side. You know, the dark side of boxing. That's gonna happen. What you expect and what you get, totally two different results, man. They should have snuck Jamal Charlo in the ring. He would have got the KO. And they know who, look, they know the difference between Maul and Mel Charlo. Absolutely. That's my biased opinions. I saw Castano's shot getting blocked or missing a lot. That's the major difference between how I saw it and how others saw it. Okay, so yeah, some of the shots was getting blocked, right? But I can tell you like this: when Charlo was getting buckled, when Charlo knees was buckling, was that from a shot getting by, or was that from the wind? Was it from the wind? Because some people say they feel wind when a shot misses. Was it from the wind? With them knuckles? Was it? Because I saw Charlo head bobbing back and forth. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he was doing the duck head back in the day. Castano was goddamn touching him. So the shots that counted was the ones that was damn giving Charlo that problem, because he chose to just get shook, stay up against the ropes, and not change levels, not dig deep. I was really looking for him to go to the darker side and willing to go in there and bleed, like my boy Joshua Greer Jr. willing to when he fought through adversity. It was a draw. Hey, y'all can say it's a draw. Y'all, hey, I respect y'all opinion. If you say it's a draw, cool. I just disagree that it wasn't a draw. Two judges had the fight super close. I'm cool with the draw. I like to see it again. Good fight. Hey, it's okay to believe that it's a draw, people. It's okay. But in my eyes, I seen Castano win that fight yesterday. In my eyes, Castano fought like he was the unified champ. Castano fought like he went in there and wanted to be undisputed more than Charlo was. It's just in combat sports. Those of you just tuning in, it's just in combat sports. It's levels to heart too. Real talk. Like, people sit up here and frown on MMA fighters, how they willing to bleed and fight through that motherfucking crimson mask they be wearing. The crimson mask, cuts all on their head from bone to bone contact, elbows, and they got that crimson mask on, and they tasting their motherfucking blood. They laugh at motherfuckers like Diaz. They laugh at the Robbie Lawler and Roy McDonald fight. They was laughing when I was reporting on MMA instead of strictly boxing. And I was trying to explain to them, MMA is something you might want to do. But in this fight with Charlo, I was looking for him to bleed, at least. And y'all can't sit up here and say, well, that has nothing to do with boxing. Just because you wanted him to bleed doesn't mean it was going to get him any more results. What I mean by bleed, I was willing for him to get in close, stay close, smother the punches, dirty box on the inside, make it a grueling fight, change levels of intensity. That's what I was looking for Charlo, because Castano was ready. Castano was ready for that type of fight. But Charlo wanted to stay out there. He wanted to, use his jab. He thought that was going to be the end all. Just use the jab, stick the jab, box clean, land his combinations. be effective, score on the judge's card. But if you was getting touched up at distance, close it. Close down that motherfucker and fight on the inside. Lions lonely, right? Right, y'all? Those of you that saying it should have been a draw. Lions lonely, right? Why your boy couldn't change levels yesterday? Somebody please explain that. Just politely explain why Charlo shouldn't be considered overrated. Then he gonna come up there to me. You know it happens in boxing. It happens in boxing. I agree. Listen, I agree that boxers have bad performances in the sport. I agree, people. I absolutely agree with that. But we can't sit up here and give excuses to the elite fighters who we are expecting to go in there and give us something different. I mean, when I'm talking about that different, I'm talking about in when you in a whole different environment that you've been in your career. You in there with a killer that want it just as bad as you do. They checked in. Castano checked in to Charlo yesterday. He didn't give a fuck where he was from. He was trying to replay Marcus Maidana against Adrian Broner. One Argentinian OG to the next. He checked in on Charlo. I'm here. Let's go. It don't matter all that shit you was talking at the weigh-in. It don't matter if you have someone in this lifetime that looks like you. It don't fucking matter, bro. He can't fight your fight. Just like Stormy B said earlier. They can talk all this shit and be killers in the motherfucking streets and willing to go behind bars from you. But they can't step through those ropes and fight for you. They can't do it, bro. They cannot do it there, Charlo. When these fighters are out here going at other fighters, for whatever reason you feel inside that you really don't favor that fighter, you don't support it. And then you have moments like this, don't expect people not to come at your head. Don't sit up here and get on live when I heard Mauro Charlo say, don't make enemies. You can't be in a sport like this when you think people are not going to agree with you. People are not going to disagree with you sometimes. They're going to disagree with you. They're going to disagree. So you have to take this heat too. You defeated Lubin, then you turn around and say, I don't feel there's no need to fight him, but if the fight happens, it happens. I'm saying to myself, God damn, man. Like these cats, they're no Charlo brothers, they hold grudges. If it ain't Lubin, he can't step up and get a shot. Then it's Demetrius Andrade. Y'all still mad at what he did. Y'all hold grudges to the brothers. Y'all hold motherfucking grudges to the brothers, man. I'm serious, man. These guys, you do one thing like he was on live. Mauro Charlo's, was on live. And I forgot who it was. He said, man, don't make enemies. So he was issuing threats. And what Charlo was up there on Blue Blood shit, telling him to unsubscribe. So nigga, we coming for your neck the same way. Y'all go up here issuing threats, right? And like the respect that you trying to demand of us, the fan base out here, you want to go out here and issue threats on social media. That's the way you're gonna earn respect. You're gonna earn respect by going in the ring, handling your business, and owning up to the shit talk that you do out here. That's how you gonna earn respect. Don't go over here threatening everybody. You went on Blue Blood shit, talking about whatever, Charlo, it doesn't matter. Unsubscribe, trying to take food off his plate, all because you felt he said something wrong. But yet, let's talk about what you did wrong last night. You didn't change levels, Jermell Charlo, when it came to show the people that you had a different type of blood that was pumping through your veins. Dig deep and go to the dark side and black the fuck out. Black the fuck out on their ass. You had the opportunity to black out. and take your mentality to a different level to prove to Castano you can break it. If you couldn't break him, you should have stayed in there long enough to make this motherfucker a WAR. Not come out that bitch looking clean to my, well, it happens in boxing. I'm still going back to the dressing room. I don't have a cut on me. I fought a smart fight. I listened to my trainer. I felt I did what I needed. Illmatic in the building. Salute, bro. At the end, I had Castano winning that fight by 1 round. In the 12th round, Mel coach said he needed a KO to win. I felt the same. Mel needed a knockdown to get the tie. He didn't get the knockdown, did he? I mean, unless I was watching a different fight, did he get it? Because I felt that Derrick James was telling him the absolute, nothing but the truth. Not everybody can do what Tank did. That's why him finishing Barrios when he was told he needed to was special. Talk that shit, Andrew. Talk that motherfucking shit, Andrew. Because this is, look, once again, the Charlos. I remember when they was going to Adrian Broner and Gervonta Davis. Now Charlo was on stage getting ready to weigh in for his fight, and now Charlo's absolutely losing his fucking mind, y'all. He's going at Gervonta and Adrian Broner on some shit. I remember all this. Yes, sir. And now, you don't expect to take these arrows, goddammit. You got to get these flaming arrows, dog. Look, we coming to burn down that shit that you was talking in social media, man. If you're trying to convince us that you're the top ranked fighter, and I'm up here saying, damn, Charlo win this fight. Should he be on the pound for pound list? And goddamn it, Terrence Crawford beat me to it. Shout out to Bud, man. Did y'all see the tweet Bud put out, bro? Bud Crawford put the tweet out. Read that tweet, bro. He hit it on the motherfucking head, man. Shout out to Bud Crawford for politely G-checking Mayor Charlo. It wasn't anything way outside disrespectful like the Charlos. You know one thing, Charlos, y'all love getting disrespectful. I mean, absolutely. I remember Mayor Charlo when Jarrett Hurd was unified champion. You was disrespectful, bro. Joshua Greer Jr., you was disrespectful. Gervonta Davis, Adrian Broner. Now I can go on the fighters that you was disrespectful to. But Andrew, you hit that shit on the head, man. Gary Russell plays to the same tune, trying to bring the streets to boxing. I don't see Gary Russell as being that dude that's bringing anything from the streets to boxing. Gary Russell's just showing you how much of a thorough, solid dude he is. That's just in my opinion. Because he asked somebody, "Oh, you trying to be gangster or something?" When do you see Gary Russell out here in the streets getting arrested and doing shit, and and building up his paperwork? I totally disagree with that, Aaron. Shout out to Aaron Jones in the building, though. Castano looked better than people thought. I think Jamel Charlo is overrated, though. Castano a solid fighter, and he was game last night. Man, I'm all about the boxing aspect of it, right? But like I said, I was going for Mel Charlo. I wanted him to make history. I did. I wanted Mel Charlo to make history. I'm not a huge fan of the Charlo brothers. I just look at how they treat people. I have some close friends that's been in the business of boxing for quite some time, and they said that, when they went up there to try to get a picture with Mayor Charlo, they said, "Nah, we don't take pictures." They was assholes, bro. They was assholes. Just like the first time I ever ran into Derrick James, I was dressed professionally. And I saw him for the first time, and I just went up there and spoke. I said, hey, how you doing, coach? He said, I don't want no interview. I guess because he saw the camera hanging down from my neck and the press credentials. He didn't even give me an opportunity to begin a dialogue. Asshole, bro. Free Hoover in the building. What's good? It was close, but Castano beat that boy. He said Castano beat that boy, shot. Hey, say it one more again. Castano beat that boy. That's real. Castano beat that boy, man. Man, Lumen got his ass knocked stiff. It's a few years later, and we still know Lumen ain't ready for mail. But check this out, though, Mitch. Let's just say you right, bro. That doesn't mean Lumen don't deserve another shot. Lumen was hurt during the Jason Rosario fight. But you trying to tell me he doesn't hold... Look, he doesn't hold enough credit. He hasn't rebuilt his credit to step in there with Charlo. He was hurt, dog, in the Jason Rosario, and he still fought through it. He grinded that shit. I got to give Lubin enough respect to say I would like to see him back in there with Charlo, especially after last night. Yes, man, he deserved to get back in there, man. So tell me this. So tell me this, Mitch. What is the statutory limitation for a fighter to take his first loss? And it was a brutal one. It was a knockout. How many fights he need before he go back in there and want to avenge that shit? Because when I heard niggas up here, oh, Dillian White, he got knocked the fuck out by Alexander, but we want to see him back in there. Anthony Joshua, oh, he deserves his shot with Andy Ruiz. We want to see him back in there. We want to see him back. It's only right. It's only right we see him back in there. It's only one loss. It's only right. Why we not keeping the same energy across the board? It only depends on who's taking the first L for them to get back in the ring. My boy Wilder take one loss, they want to say he should retire and go on about his business. He's mentally done. His fragmentation has cracked his skull. He's not confident enough to go back in there and compete. But these Charlo brothers up here acting like, well, and Mitch is talking about, well, Lubin's not ready. Well, how many fights does he need, Mitch, before he's able to step back in there? How many fights? When a fighter takes one loss and it's via knockout, how many fights? Because I see some of these fighters getting knocked out, and they still want to see him. Jorge Linares, all his losses was knockouts. Yeah, he went in there and went the distance with Haney, but all his losses were knockout, and people still praising Jorge. Yeah, we want to see Jorge Linares back in the ring. Anyway, I got to step off that shit. Gary Russell don't claim to be a street dude, just a special predator in boxing. He's a family man. All them Russell boys are family man. Gary Russell don't bring no damn streets to boxing. Absolutely. Agree 100%. Real talk. He's a stand-up guy. They solid. And most of all, they all woke, bro. I'm an older cat than all them dudes. But when I spoke to Antoine, when I spoke to Mr. Gary Russell Jr., they some woke individuals. To have that many people in your family and be that connected to life, to be that connected. He ain't no street. But he ain't no motherfucking sucker. He ain't no sucker. Nobody in that family a sucker. Dion Washington in the building. Shout out to Tuscaloosa's own. Dion Washington, man. What's good with you? All that hating on Wilder, you should have been getting them extra defense gestures in. Karma's a bitch. You know, Dion, I didn't want to say the K word. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to say the karma, but God damn it, it sure enough looked like it, didn't it? It sure enough looked like it's the same cat up here bringing attention to himself for being nosy. He was being nosy. Race ain't got nothing to do with it. Well, goddamn defense it does. Goddamn defense has shit to do with it. Yes, sir. Defense has shit to do with it. If race don't have shit to do with it, in your case, defense has a lot to do with it. Because goddamn it, you was getting popped last night. You was getting touched up. He was putting that makeup on your face with those gloves, goddamn it. And you was just trying not to bleed. That says a lot about a person. I'm serious. When it comes down to combat sports, it says a lot about some of these cats that compete that's afraid to bleed. It does. It says a lot. I know we talk about Rocky Marciano a lot, retiring undefeated, right? And comparing, Floyd Mayweather beating his record and retiring, even though some other cats that went way past it, right? But Rocky Marciano's 49 victories. And one thing they knew Rocky Marciano for was being a motherfucking bear. Like Marciano took some serious punishment to get in on his opponents and break them down. He took some serious punishment. I mean, damn, having cuts all the way up to a cut all the way up from his lip to his nose. He took some crazy amount of punishment. Now, I know that's not the smart way when it comes to being punch drunk and dementia and all that, but I'm just saying some cats are afraid to bleed in that ring, and that may prevent them from just digging to and going to a whole nother level, blacking out in that motherfucker. I do see that King Mesh, man. Yes, he do claim to be a street dude. Man, people can claim to be street dudes all day, and we've seen street dudes get taken out all the time. I just don't get that type of mentality. I don't know if you are one of those people who don't support Team Russell, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't see that. I don't agree. I do not see Jamel Charlo as an overrated boxer. Okay, but in my eyes, last night performance, I think he's overrated when it comes to even me having to fall back. You know what I'm saying? I had to lean back because I was up here saying, well, if he goes in there, which he should, beat Castano, he should be on the pound for pound list. I was wrong. I admit I was wrong. I don't think he should be on the pound for pound list. Just like Bud said. You know? Just like Bud said. Bud has been campaigning on the pound for pound list for a while now. So we're finding out it's not that easy. And I was one of those voices up here. I was like, hey, if he gets those titles, should he be on the pound for pound list? Because Josh Taylor on there. You know what I'm saying? Teofimo Lopez on that motherfucker. So when we want to talk about recent unified champions, you should consider that shit. Aaron Jones, no, not at all. Gary Russell Jr. not street at all, straight boxer. King Mitch, okay, bro, probably don't pay attention to character like I do. Okay, I don't know what character that is. I'm not sure if you located in the DMV, anything like that. You close to the family, but you have to let me know how you come into this insinuation. You know what I'm saying? What are you basing your opinion off of? Are you close to the DMV? Have you had some type of interaction? Just like I said, Derrick James was who it was. I don't speak on anybody in a certain way unless I had interaction with it. That's good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Just like when I ran to Chris Colbert for the first time. I think he's an asshole. Real talk. I truly do. That was way before he got on here and said what he said about Wilder. You know, you're talking to another grown man who's respecting you. I'm respecting you, bro. I'm respecting the art that you're competing in. I'm respecting what you do in the ring because I respect the sport. But you just so arrogant, egotistical. Anyway. Aaron Jones' character has nothing to do with being street. Man, I'm gonna tell you like this. It was some cats that was growing up, right? When I was growing up, it was some cats that was around my same age when I was young. But they was living in poverty, right? And they was hungry. And them type of cats, was willing to go out there and pull off a petty crime just for a sandwich, just to eat. They'll go in here to these restaurants where you can get your food and pay later after you eat. They'll go in there over and over again, eat, and then try to run out the restaurant. And the main reason I'm saying that shit is because when you talk about character, it's a lot of motherfuckers out there that's willing to do petty ass shit for a little or nothing. A little or nothing. So when you're talking about a street dude, what level are you talking about? It's levels to the street shit. It is. It's levels, bro. It's levels to the street shit. It's some dudes out here that's willing to go out here and squeeze off a trigger just to basically promote themselves in the ranks of whatever affiliation they have out here in the street, or to some individual. You know what I'm saying? They might be in debt to some individual, and they go out here and do something. We seen all these hip hop artists. We see all these hip hop artists being gunned down in the street, being gunned down in the car, in broad daylight, befriending one another, talking to the op, so to speak. We see this shit all the time. That's the upper level. There's a connection on you kill my friend, I'm gonna kill your friend, you kill them, and until they get touched. And then you hear about gunshots, this, that, and the other, mothers' homes being shot up and all that. But anyway, Mitch, I don't know where you grew up. The characters, everything, where you're pretending to be street dude or one. Hey, bro, Aaron, I need to know why you're so content on questioning Gary Russell's character on being a street dude. And if he is a street dude, what is wrong with it? If he is a street dude, what's wrong with it? Like, what has he done for you to say it's something wrong with what he's claiming? You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with him being a street dude? Because none of us is walking around here pure and innocent and absent of sin. All of us have sin. We wake up, we go to sleep, we've sinned during the day. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't fucking perfect, bro. So where are you coming to this insinuation that you feel some type of way about Gary Russell being a street dude? What type of encounter have you had with Gary Russell being a street dude? Just enlighten me, bro. Educate me on this shit. Men say Aaron don't know what he's talking about. He mistaken some other shit for being street. Aaron, let us know what you mean by the street shit. I don't get what you're saying with the Gary Russell being a street dude. It's a lot of boxers who have affiliation to the streets. It's a lot of boxers, MMA, Muay Thai, combat sports in general, that has ties from the street. You know why? Because them individuals came from the street. They came from the street. So you can't sit up here and act like you're supporting a sanctified sport when boxing allow people who've been locked up, who's committed crimes, who has paperwork, to come compete in this sport. So therefore, let's just say you have somebody to kill another person and they come in the sport. You gonna sit up here and jump on, well, he a murderer. He a killer for real. Well, he in fucking combat sports. He's here to cause harm upon his opponent. What is sportsmanship in the end, we don't know, but he's there to cause harm on his op and get paid for it. So you tell me, if you support a sport full of individuals from all walks of life, then why it's hard for you to understand that what you're saying about Gary Russell Jr., it really don't matter if he's a street dude or not. It really don't fucking matter, bro. It really don't matter. The sport allows individuals to get arrested while competing in the sport, get locked up, get out of jail, and still go fight on their scheduled fight. So what are you talking about, Aaron? Come on, man. Don't tell me I missed your point, but yet you refusing to clarify. You're talking to grown-ass people here. Don't say we missed your point, but yet you're not giving us any clarification, bro. Elucidate. Provide us the clarification that we need. Why are you so intent on proving to us that Gary Russell's a street dude? And then, if he is a street dude, so be it. Because all I know, he taking care of his family. They have reproduced plentiful. He's been a stand-up father, and he's been a stand-up dude in the sport. So therefore, this street dude shit, man. Explain, bro. Why go on Charlo's? Why go in on Charlo's for being animated? But I bring up Gary Russell doing the same thing, and y'all got your guard up ready. I was just saying Gary Russell do the same thing that Charlo do. That's it. So you're saying the same thing in what perspective though? And what perspective are you talking about? The same thing. Now, if we want to talk about Gary Russell being, I've been to several Gary Russell's fights. He doesn't go around there ranting and raving and acting like he's losing his mind. You know, acting like he possessed erratic behavior everywhere he go. You don't see that out of Gary Russell Jr., but you do see it out of Mayor Charlo. You do see it out of Mayor Charlo periodically, but primarily Mayor Charlo. So that I can attest to. That I can attest to. But you saying why go in on the Charlos? I'm going in on the Charlos' performance. I'm going in on the Charlos on how he treated his compeers in the sport of boxing. He has dogged guys who really wasn't truly coming for him. He sit up there and dogged them. Addressed a female as bitch right off the rip. Just being disrespectful. But somehow, some way, you trying to blend this shit all together and talk about something that's really irrelevant. It has no point to the damn conversation. When you're thinking of Gary Russell Jr. and Mayor Charlo, you talking about oil and water, my brother. Oil and water, my brother. Not even close to being the same. When you talk about character. Now, understand this, Aaron, because you need to understand the listener people language, right? And I appreciate you for pulling up, though. I'm not judging you, but peep this out. If I mention something about him having shooters, it's because it's public record. He say he has shooters. If you say something that's public record, I can comment on it. Or I can say fuck it and create my own narrative and push a false narrative. But that's not what I do. But I'm just telling you should listen more to the language. When somebody puts shit out here, public record, okay, it's a consent for anybody to speak on it. And that's what Charlo did. So that's why I brought up his performance. I thought he was overrated. He should focus more on himself and career instead of up here talking about, well, I got these individuals willing to do life. I got cats willing to do life. They're willing to do life. You got niggas out here in Charlo's circle that's willing to do life for him. He said it. I really don't want anyone around me that's willing to do life and take their freedom away from me. I've seen individuals come off the battlefield that wasn't breathing anymore. They didn't go out there and sacrifice their life for me, but we wore the same uniform and we served under the same nation's colors. You feel me? I'm not saying he don't have it, but I'm just saying, what is the purpose of you defending Charlo and bringing in Gary Russell Jr.? Two different weight classes, but they both black. The last real conversation that we could talk about Gary Russell had on social media where it was back and forth verbal sparring was Devin Haney. That's it, bro. We didn't miss your point, bro. You made the wrong point. Come correct in this bitch, son. You saying Gary Russell a so-called street dude because he pops shit about boxing. He pops shit about boxing. Fuck out of here. Aaron say keep the same energy. You know, when y'all use those cliche terms, keep the same energy on the topic that's irrelevant to what you're trying to get me to talk about. It's irrelevant. Gary Russell Jr. is irrelevant to this topic because we're talking about Charlo. Charlo is the overrated fighter that I said that he really need to focus on his training because Lions Lonely is what I seen last night. Lions Lonely promotion is what I seen last night. He's saying King claims Gary ain't a street dude and is nothing but a boxer. Listen, why is Gary in the topic of a conversation out of all these boxers? Look, of all these fighters, why is Gary Russell being spoke on when the topic was Jermell Charlo? When you see Gary Russell out here public in the fights, he's conducting himself with dignity, y'all. He's a professional out here. Just because he hopped on periodically and had sparring and a back and forth with Devin Haney and Bill Haney, what does that got to do with anything? The man goes out here. Look, I would even say Devin Haney. Even when Devin Haney's out here in public, him and his pops, they professional. That's real talk. It don't matter how critical I am of them. When they out here, when the Haneys was out here, they're professional just like Gary Russell Jr., right? But just because it comes down to a point where, you know, it was back and forth going on social media, and Gary Russell came out, you know, on social media more times than often. He was more frequent on social media. And that's the only time I can think that, you know, Gary Russell was out here going back and forth on social media. But has absolutely nothing to do with this topic. Stand up dude, him and his brothers and his family. Stand up people. He said, King Miss, chill out. I mean, what are we talking about? What are we doing, y'all? Chill out, man. What are we doing? So now Gary Russell don't do around disrespect. Hey, bro. Hey, I just wanted to hop on here. I'm not gonna keep going back and forth, man. It's very, you know, all the way down at the rudimentary level of what I jumped on here to talk about, and that was Jermell Charlo. So let's keep that same energy and recognize Jermell Charlo, in my opinion, looked overrated last night. That's my opinion. And also, second, I believe Castano won. Third, Bud Crawford was absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? He sent out a polite tweet and G-checked Jermell Charlo. So that's the primary conversation topics that I was talking about, not focusing on something that's absolutely irrelevant to the topic. This, Aaron, you're talking about something that Gary Russell did in the amateurs? Who am I to talk about shit he did in the amateurs after I'm saying that Charlos are being petty on dudes they don't like? All the beef, all the damn back and forth sparring that he had with Hurd never followed him. Andretti want to switch up the numbers at the last minute. They still want to hold a grudge against him, don't want to step in the ring with him, even though he's a champion. You know what I'm saying? But you think I'm going to go back and criticize something that happened in the amateurs? That's just like saying what happened to somebody in school. Bro, how old are you, bro? What the fuck are you talking about, bro? You want to talk about the amateurs when he swung on somebody? Him and Terrence Crawford had their words. That wasn't street shit. That shit happened in the motherfucking gym. That is hilarious, bro. That you're bringing up shit that happened in the amateurs. They spoke on that already. Man, you having a bad Sunday, bro? Dog, come on, Aaron. Come on, man. Both Charlos are not who I thought they were. I can agree with that because that I kept the same energy on that. Again, what element of the streets has Gary Russell attempted to bring in the box? Gary don't talk crazy like Charlo. Y'all going off that YouTube scrum he had. Y'all get emotional over these boxes. Where I tell you, no, you now you want to change the dynamic to the conversation. No one's getting emotional. You should be appreciative that I'm even giving you attention on this topic because it's absolutely absurd that you're bringing Gary Russell in on the topic of a fighter that's contends at super welterweight and it's a unified champion. You should really check yourself on why you're talking about something that's irrelevant. And then when look, here we go again, right? Here we go again with these cliche terms, right? You hang around on YouTube enough and create whatever account you want to create. They'll come up here and say dumb shit, and then when the rise and inflection of your voice changes, they want to say, "Oh, it's getting emotional." Nobody's getting emotional, though. It's called expressing yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're not making anybody emotional on here. Mitch is typing. I'm reading what y'all typing in the live chat, and all of a sudden it has something to do with emotion. Stop it, bro. That shit is old. It's stale, and I never really had an appetite for the same shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? That same shit when you start to get a little loud, and certain people can get loud on this motherfucker, and it's okay. How about you? Where I'm from, quiet motherfuckers is the one that you should be concerned about. Not the motherfuckers that sit up here and try to explain to you who they have in your circle. I mean, their circle. That's not the ones. That's not the ones right there, dog. People get on here. You ain't got the energy. You ain't got the energy. I got the energy. You don't have the energy. I got the energy. You don't have the energy. I can do this all day. And motherfuckers be in there pumping them up, putting emojis in that shit. Yeah, I like that energy. I like that. And then someone who is not has never had to persistently speak loud. They say, time you raise your voice, you're emotional. Get the fuck out of here with that, Aaron. Gary brought that up when old boy went and said he can get touched. And Gary mentioned he can go there too, just banter. It's just banter. I agree, Jay. Shout out to Jay in the building. At WC, I can't lie. That King Mitch got you thinking I was talking about something completely different. Listen, all I know right now is why you so bent and focused on Gary Russell Jr. Mitch didn't have me thinking anything except what I read. What I do know how to, I know literacy comprehension. I do know how to read. Every That's all I'm telling you. I'm not up here for that right now. I'm not asking for super chats, to educate. But what I do understand is what I've experienced on here, what I've read, what I've listened to. And if Gary Russell's in the street, if he say he was going to do this, that, and the other, and then you turn around and bring up the amateurs, no, I'm on the right track, bro. You don't like Gary Russell Jr., I got it. Don't blame me for your bullshit in the chat. Dog, this is grown man shit, dog. That's why I don't be in here all the time. It's grown man shit, bro. You can't address everybody in the live chat because, first of all, you have individuals that's willing to not come in on the genuine accounts and say some bullshit. But when it comes down to just switching up topics, let's stick to the same energy. And until next time, you make sure you read up on Charlo and see what he has to say and everything, and then we good. But in my opinion, Brian Castano should be the super welterweight undisputed champion. He put on a damn good performance. A damn good performance. Salute to Brian Castano for going in there and representing last night in an epic freaking boxing match where it was supposed to be climactic. It's supposed to have been suspenseful. It's supposed to have been energetic. And the fight had our attention. But the fighter who I believe that was going to give us that attention wasn't doing so. He was busy, had them hands up. He had them hands up. And not all the punches was being blocked. But I appreciate y'all for pulling up, though. Real talk. I'm about to close this down, man. I appreciate y'all pulling up on this Sunday. And, man, continue to fuck with the channel, man. Continue to tune in to World Combat Sports, man. I'm definitely going to speak on Conor McGregor. on the UFC side of the house, going in there and fighting Dustin Poirier when he was basically saying that he had a fractured freaking ankle, right? And the UFC supposedly already was aware of this shit and allowed him to compete. Now, two things. I like the grimy part of the UFC that allow fighters to get knocked out and come back. We talking about 4-ounce gloves. You see fighters lose all the time, and they allow them to return back and earn a check. Conor McGregor, he said he informed the UFC of that shit, and they knew. So him going in there and getting a leg kick check, fool, why you damn throwing leg kicks if you already fractured your motherfucking ankle? It don't make any sense, Conor McGregor. And once again, now you want to act all tough and bring the streets into it and make threats to people's family because you're losing. You're losing. You had that bogus ass win over Cowboy Cerrone, who admitted he didn't want to be there, and then it comes back around and you lose to Dustin Poirier twice. Man, it is what it is. We'll talk about this another day, another time. Salute to everyone that pulled up to the live chat today and support WCS. I appreciate you. One love.